Good defense. Set up, set up.
It is fast.
Let's go.
It is fierce.
1-1.
And full of twists, turns,
Back up. There you go.
and kicks. World-class soccer for those on four wheels.
This is my 11th year in power soccer.
18-year-old Lexi Hare of Fishers is among hundreds of players who are part of the U.S. Power Soccer Association. It's a 4-on-4 game with an oversized ball and two 20-minute halves. Players spin kick the ball at up to 40 miles an hour.
It's here for those with severe disabilities that find themselves in a power chair who have no other outlet for sporting.
We're a close family, and I love the competitive aspect of it too.
Just as traditional soccer is the world's game, power soccer is also an international sport. It was first developed in France back in the 70s, brought here to the U.S. in the 80s, and organizers say it's recently really kicked into high gear. Today, 18 teams, 140 athletes, and all of their fans are in Indianapolis from around the country to compete for this year's Championship Cup. But here, it's not all about soccer.
It's more than a sport.
It is proof, they say, that a disability does not have to disable you.
When players come to us, they're full of a life of no, Johnny, or no, Susie, you're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to be able to do that. And actually, the parents come, somewhat skeptical that it's like soccer. What's this about? That's probably not going to happen. All of a sudden, they're totally independent out on the court, and it's all about them making decisions totally on their own out on the court.
Ready, Kyle? You got it.
It releases them. They become free, and and be able to really discover who they are.
I don't think about the disabilities that people have. You look at the abilities that they do have and being able to still play. That's what I see. Up on him.
Good job. Stay focused.
Dustin Grove, 24-Hour News 8.
When I was told about this sport, I was very enthusiastic and very ready to participate.
Mark Morris is in his second year playing beep baseball.
If you want to play a competitive sport and you're willing to put in the time, you can absolutely do it.
Set, ready, pitch.
He and others who are blind or visually impaired played in a round-robin tournament in Indianapolis this weekend against teams from St. Louis, Cleveland, and Chicago.
And we take it very seriously.
Indianapolis Thunder general manager and pitcher Darnell Brooks has been with the league for over a decade.
In between the lines, it's competition, but afterwards, it's the camaraderie of the teams getting together, congratulating, and things like that. But it's a very competitive sport.
Beep baseball is 6 innings. It works like this. 6 players take to the outfield, along with spotters to help guide them to hit balls. The opposing team pitches to its own batter. The ball and 4-foot-high bases, first and third only, make distinct sound, so players know where to swing and where to run.
And this ball beeps continuously throughout the play.
Here, players don't circle the bases like in traditional baseball. If the outfielder picks up the ball before the batter reaches the base, the batter's out. If not, the batter scored a run. Rules aside, players say this take me out to the ball game may be a little different, but that only increases their dedication.
Just because you're blind or visually impaired does not mean you can't give up on life and give up on sports.
I love it. If it was possible, I would have this sport be a year-round sport.
In place of the revving of engines, a melody of a mess. The smell of racing rubber, well,
I happen to get beer happen to run down my leg all the time.
As day broke Monday, the sun revealed the remains of the party that was. The trash left by hundreds of thousands is actually appreciated by a few.
We'll make a couple $1,000, yeah, I'm guessing.
Several groups once again cashed in on cleaning up the remnants of race day through an annual invitation from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
This is just a few sections of just beer bottles and aluminum cans, and that's it, and we haven't even gotten to the rest of it.
Anderson's Eastside Church of God is one paid to pick up. The money helps fund youth mission trips. The hands of about 40 teens and adults were on waste, their minds on the less fortunate in Haiti and Atlanta, Georgia.
It's a short-term fundraiser, and you get it done, and you get back home and enjoy the rest of the day with your family.
The experience.
It helps promote teamwork. It helps build some cohesiveness among the people who are going on the various trips. So there's a lot of benefits.
Fun out of it. I mean, getting it done and just, I don't know, there's really not a lot of fun out of it.
Other than, the grossness, it's nice to be able to make some money for a trip so I can go. So it's the purpose of later on is worth it, but right now it's definitely nasty.
At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Drew Blair, 24-hour News 8.
Lauren, good morning. Well, for some time now, IMPD has really patrolled the higher risk neighborhoods, trying to stop trouble before it has a chance to start. Well, last night they were in that neighborhood, that specific neighborhood where IMPD officer Perry Wren was killed nearly 2 weeks ago.
Back me up. I was at Adam 370 mark on traffic south of Sherman. It's been an active area ever since I've been on the department.
IMPD Sergeant Paul Vonick is a 17-year veteran with IMPD. He's based out of the North District.
Right here's 34th and Forest Manor.
Vonick worked alongside Officer Perry Wren for many years.
The shift that I work with of guys up here are just some of the best officers in the country. So, they know what they're doing.
The streets in this area are his beat in the overnight hours. 34th and Forest Manor, where Officer Wren lost his life, are among them.
It's an area where we get a lot of foot traffic. There's some drug dealing in the area. We've had a lot of shots fired runs in the area, and obviously, as you know, that's where Officer Wren was murdered.
This night brought extra patrols from other districts, with IMPD targeting the city's most dangerous areas.
Things can go bad rather quickly.
It turned out to be a quiet night by comparison for officers here, with mostly traffic stops. But patrols are always out in case there's trouble.
Hopefully, if I'm doing my job right, I have my guard up every weekend.
Reminding us that on this seemingly routine night, this job is anything but.
I don't think I've ever been in disbelief over an officer getting killed. Because it's happened, in 17 years, I've seen it far too much.
Well, Lauren, we just heard from IMPD Chief Rick Hyde. He had some very strong words. You're going to hear from him in just a minute. But he said after 2 ISP troopers were shot at last night, an IMPD officer was shot at here this morning. He said enough is enough. Again, very strong words. Just stick around for a minute. You're going to hear from him. We also have the name of the IMPD officer who was shot here this morning. His name is Greg Milburn. He's a 10-year veteran of IMPD. Right now, he's at Eskenazi Hospital in good condition. He was shot, but his bulletproof vest caught that. He's extremely lucky this morning. I'm going to get you to the crime scene. We've been pushed back, so this is what the view shows you from here. Lots of police investigating this. They expect this to be a very long investigation. Of the 3 people dead is the man who believed to have fired at Officer Milburn. He was found outside the homes. 2 women were found inside one of the homes. We're not yet sure how they died, but police say they do believe those women died at the hands of that suspect. This goes back to around 7:15 this morning. Officer Milburn responded by himself to a call of a woman screaming. As he walked up, that's when the suspect came out from between 2 of these houses and shot at him, hit Officer Milburn in the vest. Officer Milburn shot back, and the suspect took off running back in between those 2 homes. He was later found dead. At this point, we don't know if that was self-inflicted or from the shots Officer Milburn fired. As I mentioned, we heard from IMPD Chief Rick Hyde very strong words after a violent night in Indianapolis. Listen to what he said.
The point is that it's a violence in our community and our society, and that's why our citizens have to stand strong with us, and we fight against this. We have a threat, and it's clear to us that there are those who don't quite get it. And bad guys with guns can't live in Indianapolis. We have to send a message to the collective community. It's not to be tolerated.
And now begins a lengthy investigation for IMPD. They initially make entry into the house when something like this happens, but then they have to leave once they secure the home. To go back in, they have to get a search warrant, and of course, that takes some time. So right now, they're talking to neighbors to try to get a better sense of what happened here. So stay with us. As soon as we know more, we'll bring that to you here and at WishTV.com. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Officers found the suspect with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He then went to Eskenazi in critical condition. I just spoke with the victim's father. A lot of the family rushed from Chicago as soon as they heard the news. He says his daughter was 24 years old, that she was just a good, loving mother with 2 young children. Listen to how he describes his daughter.
Well, Candace was actually my oldest. You know, she was outspoken young lady, you know, very early age. You know, she loved to do hair. You know, once she had her first child, you know, that was really a turnaround in her life, because she dedicated her life to the child. You know, wanted what was best for the child. So she thought that coming down here to Indianapolis would give her a fresh start because she's from Chicago.
As you heard, he said she recently moved to Indianapolis from Chicago. He also told me that the whole point of the move was to find a safer place to raise her children. He says that she recently got a job, was working at Amazon, that she was just trying to provide a better life for her children.